Young folks, old folks, everybody come to Kids Club and have a lot of fun. Please check your chewing gum and raisins at the door. And we'll tell you Bible stories that you never heard before. Hello, children. I'm Pastor Ted. Get ready. I'm going to read the Bible. You're going to hear a story. This story is about Joseph and his coat with the long sleeves and the many colors. But let's remember how God had come to Abraham and Sarah and said that through their child Isaac, their children would number like the stars. We could not even count them all, and the whole world would be blessed through their children. Then Isaac fell in love with Rebekah, and Rebekah gave birth to two children, Esau and Jacob. And then Jacob tricked the father and tricked Esau so that Jacob would have the birthright. Then Jacob went to the far country, to Mesopotamia, and brought back two wives, Rachel and Leah, and 11 boys, and resettled in Israel after wrestling with the angel and getting the name Israel. Jacob, now Israel, made peace with his brother Esau, and the family grew. Joseph is the 12th of those children. Now the story of Joseph begins. All of the boys in the family were responsible for taking care of the sheep, but unfortunately, Jacob played favorites. He liked Joseph the best, and he made Joseph a very expensive robe with long sleeves and many colors, and he kept Joseph home. He didn't have to work, and the 11 brothers, they had to work, and they got jealous of Joseph. They got angry of Joseph. And one occasion, Joseph said he had a dream. He dreamed that they were harvesting the crops, and that once the crops were all organized into sheaves, that the 11 brothers' sheaves bowed down to Joseph in the middle. Joseph had another dream in which all the stars in the sky aligned so that they were focused on him. And oh, did the brothers get even angrier and angrier, because they thought that Joseph wanted to become the Lord over the other 11 brothers. So, on one occasion, they were out in the wilderness, and Joseph came looking for them, and they conspired to kill Joseph. Reuben, one of the brothers, says, "No, don't kill him, just throw him into an empty well, into a pit," which they did. And then down the road came some Ishmaelites who were taking slaves to sell them in Egypt, and so the brothers sold Joseph for 20 shekels of silver, and Joseph became a slave. And then the brothers killed a goat, put the blood on the coat of Joseph, and took it back to Jacob and said, "Jacob, we found this coat full of blood. We think a wild beast has killed your son Joseph." And oh my goodness, was Jacob sad. because his favorite son was dead. And the other brothers, they gloated. They had gotten rid of their rival, and Joseph ended up a slave in Egypt. Well, in our next story, we'll talk about what happened to Joseph when he went to Egypt and how those dreams about the stars and about the sheaves bowing down to him, those dreams came true. One more thing. This is God's story. And the people we're talking about are ordinary. They're envious. They're jealous. They're petty. They're even willing to do evil out of their selfishness. But God works through Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, works through these not very nice people in order to accomplish God's will, namely to bless the whole world through the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you and I, if we're Christians, whether we're genetically related to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob or not, we are blessed by them because God has blessed us, and we belong to Abraham's family by faith.
Young folks, old folks, everybody come to Kids Club and have a lot of fun. Please check your chewing gum and raisins at the door, and we'll tell you Bible stories that you never heard before. Goodbye, kids.
Good morning, boys and girls. It's Miss Kim. So this week we are continuing the story of Joseph. We introduced him last week. He is the son of Jacob and Rachel. And Pastor Ted kind of went through the story a little bit, and I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it again because I think some of the points are really important. So, Leah, his first wife, had 10 sons, and then Rachel, his favorite wife, the one he really wanted to marry, had 2. And Joseph was the oldest one, and Benjamin was the youngest son of all of them. So we had 12 sons altogether. So all of the sons except for Benjamin worked the land for Jacob. He was blessed with lots of land and lots of animals and that. And so the brothers took care of the animals. So, like I said, Jacob really loved Joseph, and he gave him a coat of many colors. And you might wonder why that is so special. Number one, at this point in time, to have any clothing that wasn't kind of gray or white or that was a sign of wealth and a sign of importance. So kings and royalty and pharaohs and all of them, they had, the wealthy people, they had colorful clothes. And so here Jacob is bestowing on his son this coat that makes it so that he is favored above all the other brothers. So, if this was your family and your parents gave your brother or sister something that seems more so than you're getting, how do you think you'd feel? You kind of feel angry, maybe hurt. And the term that they use is jealous, that the brothers wanted something that their brother had, so that Joseph had. They wanted something important like the colorful coat. So anyways, so this didn't make Joseph favored in the brothers' eyes. And then another thing happens. Joseph talks about these dreams that he had to his brothers. And there's two of them. The first one talks about that he and his brothers are in the field collecting sheaves of wheat. Now, sheaves, that's a term that's used to describe, so they gather up the stalks and they put them in bunches. That's a sheaf. So, and he says that that the 11 other sheaves of wheat bow down to his sheaf. And then the other dream said that the stars and the moon, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed down to Joseph. So this did not set really well with the brothers, because remember, the other brothers are older than Joseph. Joseph's about 17 at this time. He's a bit kind of cocky, kind of, a braggart, thinks he's better than the other brothers, and he's basically telling them that he is going to be greater than them and they're going to have to bow down to him. That doesn't sit very well with them. So further along in the story, Jacob sends the brothers out, most of the brothers out to feed the animals, and he sends Joseph after them to check up on them. Well, the brothers had just about had it, and they decided that they were going to kill Joseph. But Reuben, one of the brothers, said, "No, let's not kill him. Let's just toss him in a pit." And so they do. And then they go have lunch, and before they toss him in the pit, they take his coat. And this will become important in a moment. So they go have lunch, and they see these Midianite traders coming by. So these people that are selling things and buying things, and they sell Joseph to them for 20 pieces of silver. And so these traders then eventually take him on and take him to Egypt. So Joseph is now, he's in Canaan, which is in the Middle East currently, and he goes all the way to Egypt. So, and the brothers, they go running home to their father with the coat, and they tell Jacob that an animal has killed Joseph, and they are so sorry. And Jacob just weeps because he's now lost his favorite son. So there are many lessons that we can learn from this. The first one is that lying can really ruin us and can cause negative consequences. It's like a drop in a pond. It has it creates many circles, and the problems go out from there. So remember, Rachel and Leah's father, Laban, tricked Jacob into marrying Leah when he had asked to marry Rachel. And so if this trickery had not occurred, the other 10 sons would not have been born, and Joseph would still be with Jacob. So favoritism is not good. Because Jacob favored Joseph, he lost him forever when he was sold into slavery in Egypt. So the next lesson we learn is jealousy destroys. Remember, we talked about the brothers were jealous that the father gave him a coat of many colors. So we hear next week how this had negative consequences for the brothers when they go to Egypt and find him. So we talk about if this feeling starts developing in us, we need to ask God to take over that space and provide fulfillment for us. We need to trust in God at all times. So we heard about lying, about Laban. We heard about jealousy with the brothers. Next is bragging. So Joseph kind of bragged to his brothers about his dreams, that he was going to be more powerful than them, and they were going to bow down to him. This led him to being sold into slavery. So when we boast with pride or selfishness, there's always a consequence, and we are usually always humbled. So in Proverbs 16, verse 8, it said, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." So basically, when you're prideful, it can have terrible consequences. So let us not brag about ourselves. Let us brag about God and what He can do in our lives. So from this, we learn that God can change. And He took Joseph, who was born to a family that was very sinful and had a lot of drama, but He saw the good in Joseph. And He used the trials that Joseph endured to mold, teach, and prepare him to do wonderful things in this world. So, and God can work the same way in us. He can use our trials to be to use our hands to do His good works. So, boys and girls, remember, no lying, no bragging, no jealousy. Ask God to help you at all times, and remember to keep God foremost in your lives. So, will you pray with me, boys and girls? Dear God, thank you for seeing me through the hard times. Thank you for helping me trust in you. Help me remember that with you all things are possible. In Jesus' name we pray always. Amen. So thank you, boys and girls. You may go back to the Kids Club page, and there are activities pages and a wonderful craft project about a colorful coat. So you take care, boys and girls, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.